Be sure to check out this episode of the Blue Collar Millionaire Show and stay to the very end. At the very end of this episode, Logan gives his very best piece of advice for
the best.
Yeah, the best
The
piece
best
of advice for purchasing a new car. You're not going to want to miss this.
Welcome to the Blue Collar Millionaire Show. I am your host, Chad Hufford, and this is the podcast where we celebrate the unsung heroes of the working world. Each week, we dive into the incredible stories of honest, hardworking folks who have found financial success through grit, determination, and good old-fashioned elbow grease. So if you're ready to be inspired and learn how to turn your hard work into your own success story, you're in the right place. This is the Blue Collar Millionaire Show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Blue Collar Millionaire Show. You just got done interviewing my buddy, Don Williams.
Don W.
Yeah. I worked with Don for a really long time. I worked with Don for actually 9 years.
After he was in the car business.
Yeah, after he was in the car business. He tremendous mechanic, actually pretty decent welder. How I met Don, it's kind of a funny story, is I taught at UAA back when I was just 22 years old.
Little young pup.
Yeah, exactly.
Out there in the wild.
Right. And probably had no business teaching welding at that point. But that very first semester that I taught, Don was actually one of my welding students.
He's your student?
He was my student. Yeah, he was switching careers a little bit.
So he's coming out of the car business.
Yeah, coming out of the car business and getting more into the fabrication type world.
Okay.
And anyway, so he ends up becoming my student. And then it was just a few months after that, I ended up getting hired at the same place that Don works. Actually, he still works there. And for the next 9 years.
Tech?
No, it's just for the school district.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I end up getting partnered with Don, and he's now my work partner, right? And I worked with him for actually 9 years. And so I told everybody I became the student then for 9 years. I got to be his teacher for
it's like the reverse Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, exactly. So I know Don pretty well. I know I haven't seen the episode yet that you recorded with him, but
nothing you don't already know.
Yeah, I probably heard it before, in a lot of ways. So I'm sure he talked a lot about probably more of like that service side.
Right. The intent with my conversation with Don was basically, hey man, like you've spent 20 years turning wrenches at a dealership. So right, wrong, or indifferent, you probably have all kinds of stories and advice to share to people about what it is to take care of your car, what it is to deal with the service department, that kind of thing. And so, we got to dive into that and hear a little bit of his story, and it was cool. But it was, mostly focused on the service end.
So what I wanted to talk to you about is more on the other side of
front of the house,
the front of the house in the dealership world, because you had quite the career in the car dealership world yourself.
Yeah, so I spent 10 and a half years in the car business. I sold cars for 6 years, all at the same store, Anchorage Chrysler Center, and then 4.5 years as a finance manager, and that was between two different new car stores.
Okay. And so what is this finance manager thing? I've heard you talk about being a car salesman. What's a finance
Right, everybody knows what a salesman is.
Yeah.
Finance manager, it sounds like kind of prestigious, right? Like
sounds nice.
It's a banker. What is it? Is it a manager? He manages finances. It wasn't all that. I mean, I enjoyed it just fine. It's two parts, basically. So one part, and this is the part I really enjoyed, is you do have to be very detail-oriented and make sure that the bank is getting, all the documents are in order, the bank's getting their money, make sure the dealership is getting their money, make sure the contract, everything is correct, all that, going through the credit app. So it's a little bit like a mortgage originator, that kind of thing. The part that people don't realize is that the finance manager, what the dealership cares about most of all, they want to make sure that the paper's correct, that the contracts are correct. But what they care about most of all, they expect that finance manager to be the best salesperson in the dealership.
Oh, interesting.
And most customers have no idea. They think of the finance manager as, the financial expert, almost like they're an extension, an arm of the bank, an arm of the lending institution. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're trying to sell stuff too. And that, that's not an evil thing. It's not unethical. It's, there's plenty of things that you can purchase as part of that finance manager experience at the end and we'll get into some of it, that I think can actually make a lot of sense.
Okay.
In a car ownership experience. But yeah, it is something where people they don't have that transparency to recognize, yeah, they're trying to sell you stuff. And of course, how are they trying to do it? They're trying to wrap everything up into, a cute little monthly payment instead of, I was trained early on. It's like, as much as possible, you don't talk about the price of the thing. You just talk about the payment. And most consumers they're all too happy to think about it that way. They don't want to think about the MSRP of the truck. They want to think about it's only $700 a month, or now it's probably a lot more than that. But yeah, that's just a little slice in when you're at the end of the car buying experience. You've dealt with your salesperson, you've agreed to terms, you walk in, and of course, most people think they're going to sign like 2 pieces of paper and walk out, but it is a lot more because you're signing all the DMV work and all the bank contracts and all of that. But it's also set up to basically lubricate the process so that people will buy different products that they may or may not need.
What kinds of different products? So the finance manager is selling something else then? Is that like the rubberized undercoating that you hear about? Or
it can be like some of that stuff, it can get pretty outdated in a lot of stores. Like we didn't do undercoating, but you have your extended warranties.
Okay.
Which in the business, technically we'd always call them extended service contracts. It doesn't actually extend your warranty. That comes from the manufacturer, but that's kind of semantics. The extended service contract, we'll just say extended warranty. That's one of the big ones, right? That's the main one that people are aware of.
Okay.
There's that joke that you see on Facebook. It's like, the last man on earth hears a knock at his door. It's a finance manager trying to sell him extended warranty on his Buick.
That's funny.
So extended warranties, gap insurance, which is, to give you real concise, if you owe money on your car, but your car's not worth as much as you owe, which is very, very common, especially if you traded in a car with negative equity. You owe $20,000, it's only worth $15,000. If you wreck your car, insurance cuts you a check for $15,000. You owe $5,000.
Okay.
And you owe it on air.
On a wrecked car. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have that car anymore. So you owe $5,000 on nothing. Gap insurance would cover that difference. So extended warranty, gap, windshield protection, key replacement insurance, all kinds of things like that.
Okay. So, you said extended warranties and we have a lot of people that listen to Dave Ramsey quite a bit. He says never get extended warranties,
right.
or I've heard him say something similar to that. What do you feel about extended warranties? Being in the business, now being, a financial coach, where do you land there?
Yeah, it's basically insurance. Now, not all insurance is created equal, but it is, at its core, that's what it is, right? You're paying money for something that you may never need. But if you do need it, it might be nice to have it. I do think more people than not don't need it. A lot of people, if you're buying a brand new car and you're the type of person who trades in your car every 2 to 3 years, not saying you should or shouldn't, you don't need it because you're not going to use it, right? Your car is under warranty the whole time. But if you are somebody who, owns a car for a very long time and, maybe you're not a mechanic, it might make sense. Now, there's a couple categories of people where it especially might make sense. Number one is if you're able to get a discount, which that right there, a lot of people don't realize it's negotiable. Not everything in life is negotiable. I can't, buy a toy for my kid at Fred Meyer and be like, I'm going to give you $4 for this $8 action figure.
But the extended warranties are.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And not that they're not going to offer it up that way.
Sure.
But if you just, ask flat out, how much is it? Or legally it's supposed to be listed on the menu they show you, and let's say it's $4,000. Well, there's almost always $2,000 of profit margin in there. Now, they're not going to sell it for nothing, right? They have to make profit if they're going to sell it. But, see if you can get $1,000 off, that might be a pretty good deal. That might be worth it. Even if, you are somebody who takes care of your car pretty well and that kind of thing, it might be a good deal. The other thing, and this is where I disagree with a lot of people who, including Dave Ramsey, who speak in these blanket statements,
Right.
who might have a lot of financial wisdom, or they do have a lot of financial wisdom, but they say, it's always a bad idea. It's a scam to buy an extended warranty. If you're a single parent making like $4,000 a month and you have a 6-year-old Corolla with 45,000 miles on it, if your car payment goes up by, I'm just going to make up a number, but if it goes up by $40 a month, but now you have essentially anything that goes wrong in that car, it's covered under warranty for the next 5 years. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, and here's the thing, everyone likes to think in ideals, but we don't live in an ideal world. Most people do not have an ideal financial scenario. If you are living, something like paycheck to paycheck, you probably don't have a 6-month emergency fund.
Right. To take care of if something goes wrong with that.
Your engine, your tranny goes out.
Yeah.
$3,000, $5,000, $10,000.
Easy.
And that's like, those are the major ones. There could be a power control module, something that doesn't seem like a big deal, and it's still an $1,800 repair.
Right.
So for somebody like that, I'm not going to say they should always, but I think it's definitely worth looking into an extended warranty, because you're paying a little bit more every month, but you're not saving money in your bank account. You don't have money in your bank account. So if something goes wrong on your car, you're not going to be able to afford to fix it. And a lot of people are in that boat. We just, they don't maybe want to admit it.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. That's maybe one of those things that I wouldn't have thought about.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about maybe some of the different myths that
there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is a bunch of myths. One that you and I have talked about in the past, which I didn't know, but you enlightened me on, is cash is king.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe talk a little bit about, going into a dealership all puffed up.
Yeah.
Right. And saying, hey, I'm going to pay for this puppy cash.
Yeah. I mean, and I have literally seen it. I mean, it's much more rare nowadays, the guy with like a duffel bag, but I have literally seen guys that have cash. Wads of cash.
No kidding.
I mean, if you have $100 bills, you can stack a lot of money in multiple envelopes from the bank. Cash may be king. Cash does not give you leverage necessarily.
Okay.
Cash gives you great leverage on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
Right? If you're buying a car from me, private party, and I know you have cash, that's phenomenal. Because I just want to get rid of this car and get money. A dealership sees you as a less desirable consumer, which doesn't sound very pretty, but that's the truth.
How come? So
it comes down to two main things. Number one, a dealership makes some amount of money if you finance through them. I don't mean in-house financing, but if they secure the financing. So if you buy a car from Logan Hufford Auto, and I get you I might get you a phenomenal interest rate through a bank that you already bank with, right? So it's Credit Union 1 or whatever. It's the same rate potentially, or maybe even lower sometimes than you could get. But I actually get, as the dealership, I get a bonus, a finder's fee. It maybe is $200, maybe it's $500. And it doesn't come out of your pocket. It comes from the lender.
Oh, interesting.
But that's money that the dealership gets. If you come in with cash or a cashier's check, or you write a personal check, if they take it, or even if you get your own financing through USAA or something like that, the dealership doesn't get that little bit of bonus. And it's not a gigantic amount, but it adds up, right? And so they miss out on that. There's a much bigger reason why they don't want a cash customer, though.
Okay, what's this?
Cash customers were like seen as pariahs to any finance manager.
Oh, interesting.
Because everything that a finance manager tries to sell you, all the stuff that I was trained to, like, you push this stuff, you push that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, how is it sold? It's sold through that little cute monthly payment, right?
Right.
So if you're paying with cash, now I'm not selling you, oh, this warranty, it's only an extra $50 a month. Now I have to be like, well, it's only an extra $4,200.
Right.
It's
this actually tacked on.
This bed liner, it's an extra $1,000. This key protection's an extra $300, whatever, right? And so it doesn't mean that it might not be worth it. It doesn't mean that people won't ever buy it, but it is a lot harder to sell because there's a lot more transparency now because it's not hidden behind a monthly payment.
Oh, that's super interesting.
So with that, like, if you're paying cash, I'm not saying don't pay in cash, but it matters what your perspective is. So don't walk into the dealership thinking that you're going to get treated with, like, white gloves because you're a cash customer. you need to make it clear. This might sound backwards, but if you're going to buy a car from a dealership and if you're paying cash, you need to make it clear why you are a valuable customer. And that might sound really backwards, but I promise you this does matter. You're going to get better service. You're going to get quicker service. You want to have a good relationship with the dealership, especially if you're buying a brand new car. You're going to be bringing it back there for oil changes and stuff like that, warranty work. So just being straightforward and not being like a pompous chest out,
Right.
you know, I don't need your financing. I got cash. Just be very straightforward. You can even like reference, hey, I know, and people say this sometimes, like, hey, I know you're not gonna be able to sell me gap insurance. You're not gonna get the lender fee. But it'll be a quick, easy deal. I know what I want. Here's what I'm willing to pay. And a dealership generally will very much respect that. And they'll kind of like, okay, we're not gonna make as much money, but yeah, quick, easy deal. Let's move on.
Well, okay, how about just regardless, when I walk into a dealership, what kind of attitude should I have? I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense or not, but do I go in there and be coy about things? Do I be super transparent about what I want and what I'm expecting? What do you suggest?
Yeah. I mean, so there's one approach I always recommend, which is like wear a ninja costume, hide underneath cars, throw like a ninja star at salesmen, and like that's the best. No, like I feel very strongly about that, and I am not the ninja costume, but like when you walk into a dealership, I say this as somebody who worked in the store, but also as somebody who, I buy things, right? Whether it's a grocery store or a couch or a house or a car, like walk in confidently, be direct. You don't have to tell them everything you're thinking and all the research you've done. And you don't have to, bare your soul and show all your cards, because it is a negotiation, right? But don't lie.
Okay.
Don't play hide and seek, where you're pretending this thing over here and you're really doing this thing over here. And that happens all the time. There's a phrase that gets circulated in every dealership.
Okay.
Buyers are liars.
Buyers are liars. Wow.
It's very true. Not all buyers are liars.
Yeah.
Not all salespeople lie. Humans lie, right?
Sure.
Most humans lie.
Sure.
And so like, if you are that type of person from the get-go, a salesperson very quickly is going to be like, yeah, you're not worth my time. So then you're going to get like passed around. You're going to get, the redheaded stepchild treatment. And it goes back to what I said earlier. Like you're going to start off on a really bad foot. Okay. So just be direct. And if if you're like, hey, I'm only window shopping. I'm just comparing, this RAV4 to this Ford Escape to this, Jeep Cherokee or whatever. Like just be straightforward.
Sure. So I want to back up a little bit back to some of those myths that we were talking about before I derailed you. But what about, one of the other myths that I hear is, trading in your car at the dealership, huge ripoff. Don't do that. You always want to sell at private parties.
Right.
What do you think?
So most myths have a lot of truth in them, or at least they are born from a nugget of truth, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's definitely one that has a lot of truth in it. I would say that's 90% true.
Yeah. Okay.
You will get quite a bit more money if you sell it privately than if you trade it in, almost every time. If I'm going to say a number, I'll say probably 10 to 15% more.
Okay.
So, $20,000 car, you're probably going to get at least a couple $1,000s, maybe $3,000 to $4,000 more. And obviously on up from there, it's, $40,000 SUV, all that. But there's a reason why many people trade in their car. You can say it's laziness, and there's a lot of truth to that. But it's also, your time is worth money.
Sure.
How much is your time worth? Now, my time, realistically, I'm willing to spend a few hours on Marketplace and, take some random strangers checking out a car, that I'm selling. I'm willing to do that.
Right.
To save a couple $1,000s at least. Some people might not be willing, and I would argue some people, given their salaries, they probably shouldn't be willing to potentially spend a month, between different buyers and random people no showing and is this still available? All that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's, circling back, it's very, very true that you will get more money if you don't trade it in. I don't think it's always foolish though.
Because of that convenience factor.
Yeah. In all through life, we pay for convenience, right? An Uber is paying for convenience, instead of hoping that you have a loved one that can give you a ride or something like that. We pay for convenience all over the place. I'm not going to tell you that it's dumb or that it's smart. You will save money if you go private party, but there is a reason why for some folks it might make sense.
What about, okay, so back to the more myths here. What about the best time to buy a car? I hear,
like a hot one.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that I hear a lot. But you want to purchase at the end of the year, at the end of the quarter, or one of those. Is there any truth into that?
Yeah. So that is one where it's kind of that's more of a typical myth where there is definitely a big seed of truth, but there's also, it gets blown out of proportion, I think.
Okay.
End of the year can make a difference for sure.
Okay.
Like the last day of the year, not the last month of the year, the last couple weeks, that really doesn't make a difference. But if you go in there on New Year's Eve, and yes, they're open on New Year's Eve. If you go in there the last day of the month, the last day, there's a good chance that you can find somebody, a salesperson, a sales manager, or both, who is like 1 car away, 2 cars away from a bonus number. If it's a salesperson, maybe they have a bonus of, if they sell 15 new cars, they get an extra $1,000 or $500.
Oh, it's like a quota bonus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're right away from a quota. And if you go in there, it's New Year's Eve, and you go in, 3 hours before close, that salesperson is extremely motivated. That person will go to bat for you, right? She's going to go to her manager and be like, give him what he wants. Like, we're going to give this for his trade, and they're going to definitely go to bat for you. Doesn't mean you're going to get exactly what you want, but they will absolutely be fighting for you, which is kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, that's nice.
So that would be, the last day of the year, you can definitely get that sometimes. The last day of the month, you can definitely get it sometimes. Last day of the week, not so much. Last day of the quarter, I never saw that. I mean, every dealership can have its own setup with corporate, but month and year, it can definitely come into play. There's a different end of that it's for a very different reason. It can be a good time.
Okay. When's that?
End of the day.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, now, but hear me out, because I'm going to ask you on behalf of anybody who has a family.
Yeah.
Please, if you're just window shopping, if you're just starting out your journey, don't show up to a dealership like 20 minutes before they close to window shop and just like test drive 3 cars. Please don't. I promise you, Carrie is like, I'm not joking. Like, she is still triggered by the idea of like, okay, it's 10 minutes till close. And I text her, so-and-so just got a customer. I'm going to be here for a while.
Oh, man.
Now, if they buy it, great. Statistically, most people who come on the lot are not buying a car that day.
Right.
So yeah, please don't window shop at the very end of the day. But if you're ready to buy a car, you've pretty much nailed down what you want. It just comes down to the final numbers or maybe you know exactly what you want. You're just there to do the deal. At the end of the day, maybe not like 10 minutes before, but like 40 minutes before close, 30 minutes to an hour before close, you get there, you've got the offer written up and hopefully agreed on, or you've got it written up, just not agreed on yet. And it's like 20, 30 minutes before close. You won't necessarily get exactly what you want, but you will probably get the best offer they're willing to give.
Interesting.
So instead of like back and forth dickering over a weekend, right?
Yeah.
Or, the whole dog and pony show that, yes, customers do, dealerships do, you're going to cut through a lot of that BS. And they're just probably going to give you the best number they're willing to give because they want to get out of there. So
sure.
I mean, I would look at it when I was in finance, I looked at it very, very clearly. It's like, okay, I'm going to make it a win-win. Either we sell a car, maybe at little to no profit, but it helps with our bonuses and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So either we sell a car or I'm getting out of here. But either way, it's a win-win.
Oh, very interesting. Now, I want to change gears just a little bit. Where should I go to purchase a vehicle? Should I go to a dealership? Should I go to a used car lot? I mean, which kinds of places should I be looking if I don't know much about vehicles and I don't want to get ripped off? Right.
So our goal when we talked about doing this episode, my goal for sure is like, I want this to be pretty evergreen, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully in 5 years, you can pop this episode in. I just said that as if it's a cassette tape. That doesn't make any sense. But, hopefully you can listen to this and it's still good, right? And geographically, if you're in Atlanta or Phoenix or, wherever, you should be able to listen to this and it applies. So I'm not going to like recommend one store or say stay away from that store. Do business with somebody who has a reputation to lose.
Okay.
And you might think, well, every business does. I guess technically that's true. They don't all act like it.
Right.
So this is, check those reviews. Check Google reviews. There's actually a website called Dealer Rater.
Okay.
Check that out.
Dealer Rater.
Now, are there going to be reviews by bots? Potentially. Are there going to be reviews that people are like essentially paying for? Potentially. You might have to dig through, just like Amazon. Like you're going to have to dig through a little bit, but you'll know them when you see them, for good or for bad, right? You'll see those reviews. And just reputation. Now, I mean, here in Anchorage, Alaska, where I live in the valley, I mean, there's a lot of reputation that you can get just kind of through the grapevine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure it's different in a big city, but you're gonna know. And so if you're buying a used car, I'll say this: buy a vehicle, in my opinion, buy a vehicle from a new car dealership. This is if you're buying from a store.
Okay.
Marketplace, private party, that can be great. That's kind of a different conversation. Don and I talked about that a little bit. Buy a car from a new car store or a very established used car dealership that has a really good reputation.
Gotcha.
Do not buy from a dirt lot.
Okay.
A dirt lot, they've got the little colored flags, right?
Yeah.
It might literally be a dirt lot. And they got like a little RV in the back where they do the paperwork. Like, don't buy from a place like that. Don't buy from a place that just opened up in the last couple of years.
Okay.
I'm not saying all those people are bad people. By definition, they do not have the same reputation to lose that a new car store. Because here's the thing too, if you're buying a used Camry from a new Nissan store or a new Dodge store, even though it's not a new car, they still answer in some form and fashion. They still answer to, Chrysler, right?
Right.
Dodge.
Right.
So they do not want, if something really bad were to happen in terms of how somebody gets treated, those things can make their way all the way up to corporate. They do not want that.
They don't want
They
that
can potentially lose a dealer license.
corporate spanking. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if you're just buying from Big Bob's Auto, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
You can leave all the bad reviews you want. He doesn't care.
Right.
So take that into account.
Interesting. So hey, wrapping up here, do you have any other just advice for somebody? I know that you have one big, you called it the best piece of advice.
Yeah.
What's your best piece of advice for somebody looking to purchase a new car?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll end with this, and I can't take credit for it. I found this. It was on social media. Somebody asked the question, what's the best piece of advice that you can give somebody if they're shopping for a car? And I was reading the responses, and there was some good stuff in there, but this one blew me away. And I'm like, dang, that's really, really good. If you have kids, before you go out to a dealership, get a babysitter.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I never thought about it that way because it doesn't directly tie in with finances or with the car buying experience, right? But it's so true. And I'm going to say, like, this goes above talking to your parents for advice, bringing a mechanic to check out the car. I'm serious, like, above all of that. If you have kids, pay $50, $100, $200, whatever. Pay for a babysitter so that you don't have the distractions of, I got to change the diaper, I got to feed the baby. My little kid's running over the Corvette, he's about to smash into the. You don't have to worry about it.
I could see it. Little Jimmy just spilled his sippy cup in the brand new Porsche over there.
Dude, it absolutely. And I saw it so many times. And as a salesperson, even as a finance guy, like I love kids. Like no problem. You bring your family and it's like, it's all good. I would have a little bucket with books and toys and stuff like that. Pre-COVID, they didn't mind. Like I had no problem with it, but as a parent, you're hyper distracted, right? You're constantly, and we know that. So that is seriously, I think that's the best advice I've ever heard for somebody if you have kids.
I can see it where as a parent, you're just wanting to get out of there. Like, I don't care about all that stuff. Just let's sign the paperwork so I can throw my kid in the car and get out of here.
I have literally seen people choosing between two different vehicles, whether it's two different paints or, two different models or two different bank terms, whatever. And they literally are just going, you see them distracted, you're seeing the baby, and like, I don't know, just pick that one. And it's like, this is like a huge, this is maybe the second biggest decision or even biggest decision you've ever made financially. Are you sure you want to make it just because you're distracted?
Right.
And again, as a parent, I get the distraction piece, but if you can eliminate that by spending $100 or whatever, or potentially for free if you got family nearby.
Now, if I get that babysitter, what if somebody brings a car seat? Are they going to let you put a car seat in the car?
Because we would have people that literally would be like, we brought our kids because we want to put in the car seat. And I get it. It was like, you could have brought the car seat and just checked it out with the seatbelt, made sure it all fits and everything.
Pretty cool.
So yes, get a babysitter.
So they don't mind. They don't mind if you grab the car seat and just bring it and throw it in.
Trust me, as a salesperson, we will do everything. I would take vehicles with customers. We'd go park in the garage. Make sure it fits in your garage.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
I mean, and that goes back to like building a relationship. That person is hyper motivated to sell you a car.
Right.
So yeah, they're gonna do whatever they can to make sure it fits, make sure you like this, make sure you like that. Cool. So by all means, leverage that.
Wow. Well, thanks, Logan. This was a lot of really good information. And I'm actually, maybe next time I go to purchase a car, I'll actually look up this episode so that I could remember what you said.
Play it back.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I mean, I'm happy to do it. And I mean, all jokes aside, like you and I have gotten really close over these last several years working together. And I hate talking about the car business.
Yeah.
Like I spent over a decade in prison. That's how I feel. I was so thankful that I was able to get out of the car business because it just, there's a lot of reasons, but it's just, I didn't like the environment. I couldn't wait to get out, and do something different where I feel like I'm helping people now. But yeah, I mean, if this can be a little bit of a blessing, a little bit of a benefit to somebody, it's like a necessary evil. I got to buy a car, like, by all means, hopefully one or two of these nuggets can help.
I bet it will. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Logan. I think it will. I think it'll be a good episode for lots of people. So thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks for listening to the Blue Collar Millionaire Show. We hope this episode has been inspiring and beneficial to you. If you want help on your journey to financial freedom, reach out to us at veritasalaska.com. We'd love to sit down over a cup of coffee with you, either here in our office or virtually, and get to know you and your needs. And though this podcast is free of charge, we do ask that you please do us two quick favors. If you enjoyed the episode, give our pod a great rating on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you use, and also give us a follow on Instagram. We hope you have a wonderful day filled with gratitude and intentionality. God bless.